Hi there. So being a fan of events and music festivals, I decided to do a vlog on the impacts of events on the environment. Let's take a look at the stats of the 2004 Football Association Cup. Transportation alone accounts for 55% of the event's total GHG emissions. Fans traveled in total 42 million kilometers just to reach the match. In fact, it generated 1,381 global hectares. These supporters consumed 340,000 pints of beer, 38,000 pastries, 27,000 sandwiches, 24,000 chips, and 13,000 beef burgers. As a result of this massive consumption of food and beer, these supporters have generated 59 tons of waste, and most of them ended up being in the landfill. The majority of this waste consists of glass, food waste, paper, and card packaging. Clearly, the biggest determinants of the event's GHG emissions are based on the transportation method, the foods and drinks that are being provided, and the waste that's being generated. So maybe some of the things that the event managers can do is that they can recommend these attendees to take a more environmentally friendly transportation option. So one of the festivals that I went to, it was back in Montreal at Osheaga, and I'm from Toronto, and what they did was they sent an email out to everybody and say, hey, you could take the train instead, and if you booked a train earlier, you could have a great discount compared to flying into Montreal. And that's what me and my best friend did. We just took the train instead of flying in. They could also look into having their food vendors and work with them to have environmentally friendly packaging. That way they could recycle that packaging instead of having all of them end up in the landfill. And in terms of foods, the event managers can minimize the environmental impact by hiring food vendors who source their foods locally and sustainably. It is possible to make an event sustainable without compromising the quality of the event. So some of the beacons of sustainable events are Woodford Folk Festival in Queensland and Sustainable Arts and Music Festival in New South Wales. What's pretty cool is they did a bunch of initiatives such as treating sewerage, using grey water on site, using renewable energy, and a whole bunch of other stuff. What's interesting is that there is even an international standard for sustainable event management. Basically, it provides a systematic basis for approaching the challenge of producing more sustainable events. There are also organizations that have emerged to help festivals to become more sustainable. Two popular ones are called a Greener Festival, and the other is called a Sustainable Event Alliance. The standard and these associations came about because music fans and festival goers want greener events. A survey has been conducted by the Association of Greener Festival, and they've surveyed 1,407 music fans, 649 festival goers, as well as 15 festival organizers. And what they found in the survey was that over 80% think that waste, noise, and traffic has a huge negative impact on the environment. Also, 48% of them have said that they would pay more for a greener event. Interestingly, 91% of the sample said that the organizers should be responsible for minimizing the environmental impact of the festival and put the responsibility of festival goers and local authorities below this. An upside is that some of these major music festival organizers are actually taking note and are doing what they can to minimize environmental impact. So what they're doing is they're using composting toilets, building stages out of environmentally friendly materials, using reusable cutlery, and so forth. On top of that, they are voluntarily setting up new and aggressive sustainability goals for them to beat each year. In general, it's really good to see that there is an upward trend towards green event management. And it's definitely great to see that some of these music festivals and some sporting events are doing something about it. However, there are many other festivals and many other sporting events and even many smaller events like weddings that aren't really doing their part to mitigate climate change. So it's definitely important for these organizers to be more aware of what kind of an environmental impact they're making. And it's also important for them to be aware of what kind of tools and strategies they could use to help mitigate climate change while having these events. And that's it for this vlog. I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you the next round. Bye.